everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here again with Scrapping for Less and their Flavor of the Month card kit, and it is for April. So as always, we will see a reveal of what's going to be coming in your kit. Just know all items are subject to change without notice, but only when necessary. And then of course the 5 cards. So of course this is how your kit will come in this package. Of course, the downloads for the ingredients and also the sketches will be down below in the video description. This here is the ingredient sheet, and our theme for this month is spring critters. So you know it's going to be cute, right? All right. These are the sketches that I have to work with, and you know, sometimes I forget. So, this is your cardstock. You're going to get Apple Mint, Blue Lagoon, Red Velvet, In the Namey, Lemon Drop, and Passionate Pink. And then you also get 2 of the Nina Solar White Crest, 110 pound. So in collection 1, it is called Spring Bees. You always get an envelope in each of your collection. Your papers are called Springtime Paper, and they are by Scrapping for Less, and they are double-sided. So they have some great colors in this first collection, very bright. You're going to get Yellow Ribbon by American Crafts, a sequin pack by Scrapping for Less, some Bumblebee stickers by Jolie's Boutique, and then of course your stamp set is Springtime, or excuse me, just Because, get it, Because, stamp set by Sunny Studio. For collection 2, there's your envelope, and your papers are Journey of the Heart by Gina K Designs. So we've got some mixtures here. You know, they're in vintage tones, so I really liked those. You get some ephemera by Pebbles. You get some Friends stickers by Sticko. Sequin pack again by Scrapping for Less. And your stamp is by Pink Fresh called Bird's Stamp. Now, I always struggle with these when we get to watch me fight with the packaging. It did not win, just know that. I did. So eventually it does come off. Again, your envelope. And for collection 3, it is called Spring Frogs. I'm sorry, collection 2 was called Spring Birds. Your papers are by Scrapping for Less, called Spring Fever Paper. You get some flowers in a random mix. You're going to get some Wood Butterflies by Desiree, your sequin mix by Scrapping for Less, and your stamp set is also by Scrapping for Less, called Totally Terrific Stamp Set. Get it? Totally. Okay. Collection 4 is called Spring Ducks. Your paper is Spring Patterns by Scrapping for Less. So these are really bright. I really like those patterns. Lots of plaids going on there. A couple stickers by Sticko. Some foil tags by K & Company. Your sequin mix by Scrapping for Less. And another stamp set by Scrapping for Less called Just Ducky, which is too cute. So everything you see here is what you will get if you are subscribed to the Double Dip Sunday. All right, so the cardstock and everything you see above that. If you subscribe to the Banana Split, you will get these items. A small jar of multi-matte medium, some washi tape by Bo Bunny. You will also get a banner die by Desiree and a sentiment stamp set by Scrapping for Less with lots of sentiments that go with the collections. And then, of course, it's a great stash builder for you. So these are all the items if you subscribe to the Banana Split. So let's get jumping into our cards. So to save time, I do the coloring and any fussy cutting off camera so that you can see how the cards are put together. So I have a panel here cut 4 1/4 4 by 5 1/4, and it's just a general piece of cardstock, and I'm going to glue that to one of the pattern papers. And I'm going to glue it on an angle because I specifically want this panel to go at an angle, if that makes sense. The sketch that I am following is sketch number 1. So once I have that adhered to the pattern paper, I'm going to use my long shears and I'm just going to cut along the piece of cardstock. This will give me a thicker base when it comes to my design panel. I could have used fun foam, I could have used double-sided tape, but I wasn't looking for that much dimension. By using these two pieces of cardstock, I just get a little bit and a bit of thickness to the base. I've trimmed 2 strips from the solid cardstock, 1/4 inch wide, and I'm going to place those down onto this base at the same angle that the pattern paper is going. So I'm kind of following my grid on my mat and also that curly Q line that's going up the pattern paper a little bit. And then that's just going to be a backdrop that I'll set down. I will trim those as well against that white cardstock. So it does give me a nice line to cut against. So the next items here, I already have them trimmed. This is cut to be 1 inch. I'm just going to trim it down because I'm going to create the X, and I'm going to fishtail each of the ends. Now you can see the image that I stamped, and I did use my alcohol markers to color my image, and the ink that I used to stamp my image was Memento. That is my ink of choice when it comes to my alcohol inks. I'm going to, as I said, fishtail these, and then I am also going to pull in my vintage photo. Of course, you knew that had to make a presence, right? I'm just saying. And the reason why I kind of did that was these are really bright, this green and the yellow. By putting the vintage photo on, for me, it just tones them down just a little bit. I didn't want them to be so glaring for when I put my focal image on top of them. Now those I will use double-sided foam tape and adhere them to my panel. So I'm going to put some double foam tape on the bottom of that and then on the top so that it'll actually straddle over the yellow fishtail banner. So once they're in place, I will then set my focal point. So again, I did make my honeycomb, once you see that, a little bit darker. And the alcohol markers that I used were my Prismacolors. I chose those colors there. And I'm going to do the same thing since my focal point's going to sit on top of this crossover with my banners. I'm just going to use some foam tape in some areas just so that can stay flat against that. And I'll use my liquid glue for where it's flat against the 2 banners as well. Just to make sure that it can be a little bit secured, or more secured, I should say. Once that's set, know that all of my card bases that I've used for my cards today are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is a standard size, and they are top folding. So I'm just going to clean my area here just a little bit, and I will use my liquid glue, which is my art glitter glue, in my applicator onto my card base. So I just have a thin border of white going around that panel. I'm going to use some of these sequins just to add a little bit of sparkle along the focal point and the banners, just to give it a little bit more accent. And that's pretty much our first card. So I think it's really cute. I'm hoping it helps to bring spring in. We're getting lots of rain right now. I'd like the sun. I'd like to see the sun. I'm forgetting what it looks like. Excuse me. So for card number 2, I'm going to use sketch number 3. And I pretty much used the pattern papers, of course. And also I used one of the ephemeras to use as my sentiment. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to use a piece of general cardstock. This is not my Nina cardstock. This is just some general cardstock. 4¼ or 4 by 5¼ and I'm going to use that as my base to cut my pattern paper. Now you can certainly just trim your pattern paper to that size, but by layering the 2 pieces of cardstock, I'm getting a little bit of a lift off of my card base. I'm going to use the dark blue and create a fishtail banner that's going to run horizontally across this design area, and I will trim that with my scissors. And then I did cut a piece of the cardstock that just had the background, the sentiment backgrounds going through it, you know, just that print, as you can see there. And I'm going to prop that up using some double-sided foam squares as well. Or no, I actually use a piece of fun foam. My bad, I forgot. I am going to trim this down first so I know what size to trim my fun foam down to be. And then that's just going to straddle on that above the banner. So I wanted the banner behind it, just to peek out underneath it. After I have my fun foam adhered, I'm going to set that down, and I will end up trimming that just a little bit. I wanted that more over to the left, and then I will set my sentiment in place. Now, since this is coming off of the fun foam, the piece that's raised with the fun foam, I will use some double-sided foam squares and some liquid adhesive, and then I did use my vintage photo to go around the sentiment just to help that stand out just a little bit. And then once that's set, I will grab the sequin pack again. And one of the things that I really liked about this sequin pack was all the wonderful colors and the different sizes of sequins. So I'm going to lay down 3 dark blue sequins, and then I'm going to go in again with my glue, and I'm going to put some gold sequins on top of that, because they were actually just a little bit smaller. So just like a two-tone effect when it comes to the sequins that are going on here. And I will add 2 more on the other side of the thank you, because I was really enjoying that look. I'm going to adhere this again onto my standard A2 size card base, and this will be a top folding as well. I'm actually using a card base that was from my stash that was already pre-scored. So for card number 3, as we get there, that's our second card. For card number 3, I'm going to use sketch number 4. I dug into my embellishment mousse by Nouveau, and I'm just putting some color down. The color that I chose was the copper to cover up my butterfly. I'm going to layer my 2 pieces of cardstock, so that I have that green border going on each side of that pattern paper. I'm going to adhere once again just to have that little bit of lift. None of my cards did I really prop up using fun foam when it came to the designs. I just wanted that extra layered look on my cards. That is cut to be 4 by 5¼ and then my next panel here is going to sit on that design panel off to the side. So I'm going to show the stamping for this one. I'm using the absolutely adorable butterfly, and I'm going to create a background of the piece of cardstock that I've already pre-cut with a stitched rectangle die from my stash. And then I will color these images using, again, my alcohol markers, and I did use my Prismacolors alcohol markers for these as well. And I used 3 different colors when I colored them. I used blue tones, I used some pool tones, and then I just wanted one to be bright, so I chose a pink. So the little guy's kind of sticking out there. And then I just used some cool grays for their bodies. I am going to use Fun Foam to prop this up and set that in place. So you can see the two panels are coming off of each other. And then I'm going to set my strip going across this. And I'm just going to continue to use the Fun Foam and my liquid adhesive to set this foam in place. Now, I wasn't quite sure exactly where to place that, but once I have that set, I will be able to slide that up onto the design panel, and then I'll be able to trim those areas up. Once I know that it's even and set in place, I will trim the sides and then set that onto my standard A2 size card base. I do find, I don't know about you, but I do find that if I'm trimming the sides of my card base or the design base, I find it easier to use my long shears, not my short ones. What do you think? Just something I'm noticing. Yeah. I'm going to use my liquid adhesive and adhere my butterfly. So I have all kinds of different colors going on that one. So for card number 4, I did use sketch number 2. Again, doing that same thing, cutting that card base down to 4 by 5 1/4, and then we're going to have fun layering with these papers. I couldn't use these papers enough. They were just fun and bright. I really liked the patterns, and I do believe, I will make sure, but I do believe, and I'll have the link down in the video description, that Scrapping for Less does sell their papers on their site, and I encourage you, check out their site. They've just redid their whole website, and it looks absolutely fantastic. So here you can just see I'm layering these pattern papers just one on top of each other, not creating any dimension with these, just having fun with the patterns and seeing which way I can get them to go. So I've got some plaids, I've got some polka dots. This is our focal point. Now that will extend off of this panel just a little bit. And I stamped the duck image in the umbrella. I thought it was just way too cute. And I'm kind of stamping it towards the bottom, but it's the way I'm going to ground it is, you'll see I actually made it look like he was in a little puddle along the bottom of the card. Again, the coloring was done offline. I didn't have to fussy cut this because this panel is just going to stay this way. I did choose the sentiment, have a ducky day. I used to always say that. So you can see I used purples and yellows, and then I just used some blues and made it look like a little puddle that he is actually sitting in. For our final card, this is, I just had fun with this one, using some of the items from the banana split, but I dug into the solid cardstocks and still wanted to use this beautiful plaid and just kept on creating layer after layer. So I started with 4 5 1/4. Then my next layer was cut 3 3/4 by 5. And then the next one was cut 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. So it's just fun to keep having that come down. And then I just cut a panel, and I just wanted to use these stickers. I thought they were so cute. So I'm just playing around what they would look like next to each other or staggered. The sentiment I wanted to use was, don't let life's puddles get you down. So I thought it was really cute. Again, I am one that looks at the sentiments and build my cards off of that, or my scenes. It is something that I do gravitate to. So I just thought it was cute with the bright raindrops coming down. I thought it was fitting. After I get the stickers in place, I'm going to trim off the tops. I could have just folded those over, but I just wanted to trim them because they are going to sit on the dark blue background. I did trim it because I wanted those drops centered onto the base. And then I'll just trim the blue against the white cardstock just to give it that little bit of frame. And then I will prop that up onto this panel. You don't have to. You can continue with the layers. I'm going to use my double-sided tape for that. And then I'm just going to set that down on this panel at an angle. Everything else is at 90 degrees. This, I want that to sit at an angle. And I really like that card. So as always, here are the close-ups of the cards that we made using the Scrapping for Less Flavor of the Month card kit for April. And remember, the theme is Spring Critters. The downloads will be available and linked down in the video description, along with the website for Scrapping for Less, their shop link, and their blog. So that you can see all of the wonderful other creations. Because remember, this is a blog hop. So make sure you do go to my blog to see all of the other links and creators when it comes to this month for Scrapping for Less. I do hope you enjoyed them, but I do want to thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below, and I will make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. Again, thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe and tune in for my next video. If you're still curious about the Scrapping for Less products, here are a few other videos that I thought you might like and give you a feel of what the kit's all about. I hope everyone's having a great day. Remember, take care, but always remember what's most important. Always be creative.